NIL has been the landscape of college basketball in the last few years. How has it affected your program, and how do you think it needs tweaking if needed be?
Well, I think it's affected every program in the country one way or another. It's had little effect on us compared to some other programs that you've read about. And it's going to continue to have an effect. The NIL part has an effect in who you get and who you keep. And the portal has an effect on who you keep and who you get. So one of those things would be an issue, but both of them combined is quite a challenge for everybody. Unless they fix it, it's going to be undoable. And you'll see more and more coaches every week, stepping away from it because it can't be done. The way it is right now, it can't be done.
Geno, reflect on what this year is going to be for Paige. And she's always been in the spotlight. But this season in particular, what do you think it's going to be like for her, knowing that even more people now are going to be watching because they know she's going to be getting done through the NBA soon enough and they're looking forward to that?
Yeah, there has been a lot of attention on Paige since high school, actually, since before she even got to UConn. But she tries her best to not let it be as much of a burden as it can be. Her willingness to accept that responsibility and what she has to do for our team. Those two things, I think, are going to help her. She's more concerned about what she has to do for our team and how she can help our team reach our goals. I'm sure there'll be times during the season when it becomes overwhelming, either in a positive sense because she's doing so great, or in a negative sense because she's struggling. She's going to get both at some point. But she's, pretty good at managing that. But we're going to ask a lot of her, contrary to what maybe is out there with our team. I've said this to our people back home. She's playing with a lot of really, really young players. And so that's going to be a real challenge for coaching staff and for her. And because we're playing with a lot of young players, she wants to be on the court all the time. And I know I can't afford to have her on the court all the time. But I know she's deserving of it. But I certainly don't think that we should be adding to the it's all Paige all the time all over the country, which is want to happen with today's culture.
How much do you think the players benefit from having her, and the fact she takes on a lot herself? She seems to be so team first oriented.
Yeah, the players benefit by having a safety net. Yesterday we were playing and we had this scrimmage a little bit among ourselves, and we went about 5 or 6 minutes, and each bucket that we got, Paige didn't get any of them. And it was a great sign because they always look to her, and they need to stop looking to her as often as they do. And yesterday was a really good example of that. But when it comes right down to it, that's who they're going to look at, and that's who's going to have to carry them. And there's no getting away from that.
How would you compare the dynamic of last year's team to this year's team?
We haven't, obviously replacing Nika and Aaliyah is difficult. They're two pieces of our, Final Four team that can't be replaced. So the dynamic changes just by losing the two of them. Our incoming freshmen are going to be really, really good. Maybe not as good as Aaliyah and Paige were in April, but they're going to be really good. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're going to be a different team out on the floor simply because we have different pieces to work with. So I'm hoping that we start to find our identity, sometime in November. end of November.
Coach, speaking of freshmen, you added the top freshman, Naismith High School Player of the Year, and Sarah Strong. What stood out to you so far about her on and off the court?
Sarah off the court is very, very introverted, very shy, very studious. You know, she wants to know, she wants to be sure. She's very cautious, and she started out in September, early October, being the same on the court. And the last 2 weeks, there's been more Sarah the Sarah basketball player that got her all those awards. And I can honestly say that she's probably as impressive as any freshman that we've had in a long, long time, with all the things that she's capable of doing on the court. So I'm excited because every day she does something I haven't seen before from her. I'm anxious. I'm anxious every day to go to practice to see, you know, what's the next step that she can take. Little baby step, but the next step.
You wanted her to define her role for you this season. Is she starting to do that for you in practice?
Oh yeah, yeah. She's found her role already. Her role is every time she gets the ball, try to make a play. And very rarely do you have freshmen come in where you're asking them to do that. So we need a big rebound. I expect her to get it when she's on the court. You know, we need a pass to a shooter. I expect her to make it. You know, we need a defensive play. I expect her to make it. We need a big three right now. I expect her to get it. So that's a lot to put on a freshman, but that's what we did with Paige. So it doesn't matter. We've been down that road before, and you wouldn't ask anybody to do those things if they couldn't do it.
Geno, when you went to go see her play, did you sense that she had that confidence?
You know, and being completely transparent, when Jamel went to this like back gym where nobody was, there was only one person watching her play. I think it was Nikisha Sales, who may have been watching somebody else. I don't know, but Sarah was playing, and Jamel came back and said, "I saw this 9th grade kid who's going to be really, really good." Just something, you know, she just saw something. So I went down there right away, you know, and we watched, and all you saw was this young kid who had a knack for doing the things that people have to learn to do. And she already had them. You know, the way she saw the floor, you know, how she finished around the basket, her just non-rushed, casual kind of approach to the game where all the great players have the ability to slow the game down somewhat. And each year, it became, for me, after her sophomore year, during her junior year, it became, if we get Sarah to come into our program, we will significantly change the trajectory of our program.
Yeah, but Coach, with Paige Beckers playing in the final season, what can the players out there see Paige Beckers play college level basketball in UConn expect this season as she has her farewell tour?
Anybody that's watched her play will know that, you know, when Paige was a freshman, there was nobody better in the country than Paige. Obviously, she got every National Player of the Year award. And then she kind of disappeared from the spotlight because of some injuries. But if you look at our Final Four team last year and how we got there, and that we were 2 points away from playing in the national championship game, that was a testament to just how much that kid can do for a program, a team, and how far she can take you. Obviously not by herself, but putting a player like Paige on your team automatically makes you a national championship contender. And so that's whatever people want to see, they're going to see. That's the way the world is today. If they want to see, hey, she's the best guard ever to play basketball, that's what they're going to think, because she's going to show you that. If they want to see, hey, she's overhyped, they're going to see that too. So it is what it is. You know, she's going to play great, and she's going to have her unbelievable moments, and she's going to have some down moments. But I think Paige is somebody that everybody's going to want to watch. Unfortunately, I wish she was, you know, playing with a much older group. I wish she was playing with a more experienced group. Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
Yeah.
Oh, I was pointing over there.
Geno, when you say that someone you thought could change the trajectory of your program,
Yeah.
I mean, for a program that's been in the Final Four, 17, 18 years,
Yeah.
that's not, that's not something I imagine you've said.
Yeah, you know, when you say that, it's not like we've been losing all the time and now this is going to change. I don't mean that kind of trajectory. I mean that you're, you know, for the last couple of years you've been, for whatever reason, you're this far away. So a player like that can help you close that gap. But what I really mean is that's a 4-year being able to close the gap. That's not like a one and done, close the gap this year and then leave. Like it would be, let's say, if this was men's basketball. So this is an opportunity to close that gap for 4 years in a row and keep it closed. So, because otherwise, you know, you see programs around the country now, even if they do get to the highest level, it's hard to stay there on a regular basis. And she's one that can, provided you surround her with other people, she's one that can keep you there.
Geno, obviously,
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Geno, just related to that, you wish Paige was surrounded by older
Yeah.
players, but the numbers have been a thing where you've had, because of injuries, the fact that
Right.
more people to do, you know, than you necessarily expected to in October. Do you feel like in a numbers game, this is a team that allows you to throw more potential solutions to different problems over the course of the year?
Yeah, as we grow and get better during the course of the year, you know, right now, we don't have everybody back from, everybody's in a different stage of coming back. And so, you know, we don't have AZ full-time yet. We've got her quite a bit of time at practice, but not full-time. We don't have Caroline back. Aubrey's not back. So Yana Patterson is on hold. So we've got some pieces that are still on their way back. But what we do have every day at practice is we probably have 9 players who can all contribute when they step on the floor. And it's just a matter of now finding the pieces. Here's the problem. The problem, we have 9 players that all can contribute. The big thing is they contribute really good when they're on the floor with Paige. So we got to find a way to be really good when she's not on the floor. And I think that's where, you know, maybe Caitlin can help and KK, you know, and it's really important that we get AZ back, because if we could get in a situation that whenever Paige is not on the floor, AZ can take on that, you know, because when Paige wasn't around, AZ was unbelievably dominant until she got hurt. Then Paige has been dominant without AZ. I want to see if they can do that together, which I think they will. But then it's a comfort level that we can remove one and not. Whereas last year we had to play Paige almost 40 minutes every night. And I don't know that you can sustain that, but we won't have to do that this year. I hope. If we do, we've got some issues.
Yeah, Coach, obviously this year UConn got selected to win the Women's Championship Classic at the Barclays Center.
Yeah.
When you found that out, that announcement, like, what are your overall thoughts? And how will everything you just say discuss like that this season?
And anytime we get a chance to play in an event, you know, where there's a lot of other good teams, and especially an event here in New Jersey, you know, it's things that we've done for the last 30 years, where we feel like we can elevate the game, we can bring even more attention to the game than has already been there. There are 3 other really, really good teams in the event. So I'm expecting, you know, the environment at Barclays, you know, during the WNBA Finals was incredible. So I know that the building has the potential to be, that kind of spectacle. So I'm looking forward to it.
Is there any added sense of urgency since it is Paige's last year to, I mean, you're going to keep bringing in good players, but is there any added sense of urgency?
Yeah, probably, certainly on her part. I think she feels it. I think she's at practice. She's doing some things in practice that haven't happened much in the last 4 years that she's been there. 3 that she's played. She's not passing up any opportunity to take advantage of what's happening on the floor that benefits her and us. Whereas in the past, she might defer to you or to you and just let it go. And I don't see that happening either on the defensive end, on the offensive end. She's just taking on this, I don't want to leave any stone unturned, right? So I think the urgency is more on her part. I don't want to add to that, but I'm thinking that as the weeks go on, the younger players are going to get caught up in that urgency, and that's either going to scare them, I don't want to screw this up, or it's going to elevate them. And if she's, like we've been down this scenario before when we had D, right? We had a lot of really good players graduate. D came back, 2 freshmen in the starting lineup, 2 other guys that had never started before, and she's out there with them, and there's some growing pains, but again, I go back to the confidence that you have from knowing you have somebody like her on the floor. That's ultimately what's going to get us to the next spot.